need to breed my rabbits this week. Today's supposed to be in the low 40s, so we're gonna go ahead and open up the rabbits' windows. I should really take care of these weeds. They're always in my way, but I always find an excuse not to. So today and actually all week, this week is special because this is the week that I need to breed my rabbits to have kits that are old enough for a livestock swap on Easter weekend. So isn't that crazy? We can breed right now and have kits ready for sale Easter weekend. And now, before anybody freaks out, I don't sell or contribute to the Easter fever where everybody goes out and buys a cute little baby bunny for their kids for Easter and then turns around and they end up in a shelter. I don't do that. I like to cater to breeders and also to people just looking for meat rabbits, for good meat rabbits. Those are my primary bases of sale. I do not want a bunch of pet rabbits suffering. Like, I don't want my animals to suffer. So that's not something that I contribute to. It just so happens that our livestock swap lands on Easter weekend. So it is what it is. But if I see people coming through with little kids that are specifically looking for just a pet rabbit for their little kids, these are not pet rabbits. These are meat rabbits. They're great for breeding stock and everything, but they get very large and they're not like extremely docile. But rabbits, honestly, they're not, I wouldn't say that they're very good kid pets, simply because they do kick, they do scratch, but also because it's so easy for a young child to injure a rabbit, not knowing how to properly hold them, or if the rabbit gets scared. I mean, we have to remember these are prey animals, and you know, it happens, they get startled and they try to escape, and their escape is kicking and flailing, which can actually sever their spine and cause so many problems. So anyways, I need to breed my rabbits this week. So yesterday I had my Doll in with Charlie, and they actually did have a successful breeding. What I like to see is 2 to 3 fall-offs, which is basically when the buck mounts, he does his business, he'll kind of freeze up and then fall off, literally. So I like to see 2 to 3 of those each time, and as soon as I see that, I can go ahead and remove the doe. You always take the doe to the buck. Does are very territorial, and the buck's cage is new to them, so they can't claim that territory as theirs. It smells like the buck, and that kind of puts them in the mood. So generally speaking, you never want to take the buck to the doe. She can do major damage to a buck being territorial over her space, such as castrating him, which we don't want, because obviously then you can't breed your rabbits. So basically I have 5 more does to breed, technically 6 because I kept one of my last Californian grow outs, and she is actually 8 months old now, so she is plenty old enough to begin her breeding journey. We're gonna go ahead and continue breeding our, sorry, I have kittens playing outside the window and a kitten playing here. They're hunting mice. To recap, I have 5 more does to breed. 6, sorry, out of the 7 does that I currently have. And that is a mix between, I have silver fox does, I have 2 of them. I unfortunately have not purchased a silver fox buck as of yet. I'm still on the hunt. I think I found a line, but it is a 3-hour drive to go get him. So I'm waiting for a future litter when I have enough time to go make that drive, which hopefully in the very near future will happen. So I have 2 silver fox does. I have 2 New Zealand does. And I have 3 Californian does. And I have a Californian buck and I have a New Zealand buck. So Axel is my Californian, Charlie is my New Zealand. They're very good bucks. They know exactly what to do. And they get right down to business as soon as I put a doe in there. So here's fingers crossed to my does lifting for them, and we can get everybody bred and have babies in 31 days. So this is Harmony. She is one of my silver fox does. And she is ready to go in with Axel. We're gonna see what a silver fox Californian cross looks like. I have no idea, but she is very silvered. She is considered a black. I'm actually going to move Harmony in with my New Zealand buck. I already tried her last night with Axel and she wasn't having it, so I was hoping maybe today she would be more familiar with him, but I just don't think that his scent is working for her, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch her to Charlie. Poor Charlie, he's actually in the middle of molt, so he looks really bad right now with all the tufts of hair gone. But I promise he's okay. And this is a new doe. She's never kindled before, but she is plenty old enough. I believe she is, yeah, she is 8 months old. She is plenty old enough. And she reached her percentage for weight. We're shooting for is about 80% of their adult weight, and she's there easily. She's really not lifting for him. I'm gonna go ahead and give her a break. I'll try her again later. So Harmony was a dud again. I'm gonna go ahead and try her again later with Axel again. I'm gonna try one of my tried and true does, see if she'll go ahead and breed with Axel. It didn't happen last night, but she also still has a litter with her. So this is Chloe. She is one of my Californian does, and she's had several litters here, so she's a good mom. She's lifting. She's doing a perfect lift. He's just not positioning himself correctly. And that's exactly what I mean by a fall off. So we have one. I'd like to see at least one, but hopefully two more. So do you see how Chloe and Axel's ears and nose and tail and paws are both very different, even though they're the same breed? This has to do with temperature. So that gene controls temperature sensitive extremities. And what happens is the warmer the rabbit is, the less color they have. The colder they are, the more color they have. And his color is probably very prominent due to the fact that he is alone in this cage, and he is actually on the north wall. So, and there's windows right above him that are just wooden hatches, basically. So he probably has one of the draftier or colder temp areas in this bunny barn. But Chloe, on the other hand, she is normally very dark if, and only if, she does not have kits with her at that time. So right now she has the last 3 of her kits still in the cage with her, so there's a lot of snuggling and warmth. That is why their colors vary so greatly amongst all of the Californians. I have 2 other Californian does on the east side, one on the north side, one on the south side. Neither of them have kits with them, and they're both very dark, just like Axel. So I think it has a lot to do with her having kits to snuggle, and she's keeping a lot warmer than the other 3 Californian rabbits that I have in this bunny barn. Well, I'm not 100% certain what his issue is, because she's laying there actually half lifted, and she's been lifted this whole time, and he's only successfully mounted her one time. He really doesn't like being watched, but there is a very, very important reason why you never want to leave two rabbits alone together, unsupervised. One being, like I said earlier, that the doe can easily, very, very easily turn around and actually castrate your buck, and you wouldn't even know. I mean, the other reason is they could honestly just go into a brawl and have a whole fight, and you could come back from your unsupervised breeding and find one of your rabbits deceased, or severely injured. And it's just not something that in my program, it's not something that's worth it. I don't want to lose one of my rabbits due to my negligence. Also, I guess it depends on how sure you want to be that you have a bred doe, because like I said last night, I had does in and out of here, and nothing was a successful mount with either of my bucks except for Charlie with my doe doll. And I'm very diligent about keeping records, and I want to know, how many follow-ups did we have, so how likely are we to have, a litter in 31 days. So takeaway from that is never ever leave a buck and a doe unsupervised. I know everyone has their different take on that, and sometimes there are people out there that do colony raising where they have all of the rabbits in one colony. I know sometimes they keep the buck separately, either in his own large area, like a large pen, or maybe he's in a cage like this, so that they're more controlled breedings. But generally speaking, if your rabbits are not well acquainted with one another, and they're in separate hutches, or even a hutch area is very, very small to house more than one rabbit together. You need to have quite a large area, and if you're raising does together, like I said, they're very territorial, and if they are not used to each other, as in litter mates, it can be detrimental. So in my book, it's just not worth it. We're going on 22 minutes here now for Axel trying to breed Chloe. We've only gotten one successful fall off. I'm not sure that we're going to get any more right now. I may come back out later today and try to see if he can get another one in. So since we only got one successful fall off with Chloe, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get my new Californian doe who's never been bred. She's 8 months old also. And I'm going to see if he can tame her down. This is my new Californian doe that I decided to keep from a doe that I no longer have. And we're going to see how she does with Axel. That's what I mean. You have to keep watch over if she's starting to attack. Okay, alright. And that is exactly why you never leave your buck or doe alone together. So we're going to have to give them a rest And if she can't breed with him, I have a 3-strike rule. If we can't breed 3 separate times, then we go to freezer camp. Well, that's all I'm gonna go ahead and try today. Well, at least this morning. I will come back out later and see if I can get anybody bred that hasn't been so far, and I will retry that young doe. She doesn't know what's happening, so I always give them the benefit of the doubt. But if for some reason she goes 2 more, I'll say 2 more days, not 2 more times, I like to give them several opportunities to get used to what they're here to do. And if that's not possible, I don't have any use for an aggressive doe. And that goes the same for my bucks. I don't have any room for an aggressive buck. So if that's going to happen, then they will be, she'll be processed along with these other kits that I have to process here any day, whenever I have time. So we're going to call it quits for now, but we'll be back out later.